for those of you listening on the pod.
Welcome in hour 2. All right, next comment here from Gute is on the draft board. I thought this was interesting. Yeah, but listen, he's not going to tell us how his board lays out, but I just love hearing a GM kind of talk about the horizontal board because we mention it all the times, and it is cool how I'm hearing a lot more podcasts mention it now, and it's not because they heard it from us. It's just people are really catching on to how this process actually works. I think it's absolutely awesome. Here we go. Here's a Goody talking a little draft board.
You're picking in the 20s year after year. How much in years past have 3 or 4 trade-ups have shocked you that that changes your board when you get to your pick? And how much time can you spend on scenarios and if that might happen?
Yeah, so you're saying if somebody trades ahead of us and takes a player maybe we weren't expecting, happens all the time. And so, we spend the majority of our process is really trying to get the board right vertically by position. And then, at the end here, we do spend a ton of time, obviously, horizontally and trying to get that right as well. So, once you kind of get to that spot, you kind of work through those scenarios a little bit, what you might be faced with, but yeah, so to me, you've gone through it so many times that, even when it happens, it doesn't tend to, take you off out of your thought process because you've probably already gone through it.
There you go. And that's what we're talking about, the mock draft, guys. The mock draft came about way back in the day. Basically what happened was there was a guy that put out a mock draft guide. I can't remember his name right offhand, but Michael Lombardi's talked about it a lot. And GMs, I mean, this guy, he owned a funeral home of all things. I guess he had plenty of time just sitting around, plenty of dead time, sitting around at work, right? And that's the kind of sick humor you get right here on the show. So he's sitting around. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna start combing through and going through scouting reports and this and that, and I'm gonna put together kind of a draft guide and go through a mock draft. What are the team's needs? NFL teams back in the day actually used that guide to go by. And then they started doing their own mock drafts. I guarantee you the Green Bay Packers have done 500 mock drafts this offseason. And it's funny how some of the listeners get upset. And they're like, I'm so sick of mock drafts. I get it. It gets redundant. And like people said last night, you're talking about the same players over and over again. Yeah, and we're talking about different scenarios where they may go to this team. He may fall this far. You've got to be prepared for every situation that could come into play, and that's what Gooden's talking about there. You've already walked through it. Nothing will catch you by surprise. Nothing. You may look up and go, I can't believe that player fell to us. You may look up and go, boys, we got to trade back. Every one of our top guys are gone. And he did say last year that typically you can get – he said typically in a normal year, every one of their first 3 rounds are top 50 players on their board. Emilio, you've been looking at the board more than anybody, bro. This all kind of rings a bell, doesn't it? And how you got to work the board and work through your mock drafts and kind of see, okay, we did it with Ted McMillan earlier, you remember? Yeah. We were like, what are the chances he falls to 23? Very, very slim. All right, we better really do some research on these other receivers and see if one's worthy of the 23rd pick. And if not, be prepared for Ted McMillan to be gone. If he falls in our lap, great. That's best case scenario.
Right, and that's why he's kind of scattershot with, his 30 visits right now. All right, let's cover our first-round basis. Who do we really think can fall? And then go from there. Then, we'll find a couple in the later rounds that we really like, we really want to get our eyes on. But, yeah, I mean, even just that – it's just crazy once you start getting that information just from what you changed up today. I mean, there are people jumping like 2 tiers in the horizontal board. Maybe they were out like 90.1. They jumped all the way up to, 79.6. And you're clear up into another tier. You're in a new cluster. And I just the fact what I did like what Goody said was the fact that they had it all squared away Friday. Yeah, and they probably could have just taken the week off and then came back. So because right now is when you can really mess it up. You're looking at it way too fine. You're trying to comb through, pick out one problem or one thing you really like. I think that right now is that time you get your what's DJ calling play the one your one red player, the one that you would not take
red
no matter
star.
what.
Red star.
Yeah, and then the one your blue star, the one that you would absolutely stand on the table for you and. Maybe that's something we got to square away before the draft. We all get 1 or 2. And then, cool. I think just those little things, that's why you scouted all year. Stand on the table for your dude and go from there.
Yeah, that's one of the articles that we kind of wrote to there on the Patreon group. If you guys want to join our Patreon group, it's the best way to support the show. Got tons of access in there, different different information. We uploaded another Chalk Talk segment. Next week, when we get back from Green Bay, I fly back into town Sunday. I think you do too, Emilio.
Yep.
Get back into town Sunday. My goal will be maybe by Monday or Tuesday, definitely by Tuesday, to start putting Chalk Talk episodes together of these prospects. It's going to be absolutely awesome. We'll go through and just show some tape of them and some of their highlights, that type of thing. What do they do well? But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about what he said there about moving around the board there, Tim, and in terms of maybe trading around? And like Emilio said, man, they said they could have took the week off. You know it ain't going to happen, but they could have took the week off because the board is ready.
But perfect example, real quick, Tim. Ty Felton, 112.8. He's jumped up to now 98.8. Jumped 2 tiers just because we got a little bit more information, squared the board away.
Yeah, I saw that earlier in the group chat. You got guys that are moving 100 spots right now, depending on how you're looking at it. So I think if you're Goody and the brass and you're in that war room, you know, you have a plan, you're making a plan, but you're ready to pivot. You're ready to adjust at the drop of a dime. You could be 10 picks, 15 picks into this draft, and all of a sudden we're moving up or we're moving down, you know, or we're moving down significantly and picking up later draft capital. We're adding a 5th, a 6th, a 7th, you know, to the board, and giving ourselves more ammunition. Or maybe, like you said, you've got that, you know, your red guy and your blue guy. Well, you're going to move up. If you have an opportunity to move up, maybe you do. Maybe it's only 1 or 2 spots to get your guy. You never know. There could be a trade with, you know, Indianapolis or somebody, you know, maybe Ja gets packaged with some picks and, you know, we move up to get our guy. I think it's important to, you know, have a game plan, but be ready to maneuver and bob and weave as the draft unfolds. And I think Goody's ready to do that for sure.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys kind of stole my thunder there. I will reiterate what Tim just said too, is we're not looking past the point that Jair could be packaged with something. I think Malik Willis could possibly be packaged with something. And that would be that would make me sit up in my seat for sure. You know, when you get that kind of thing. And I don't want these things necessarily to happen, but it is a possibility. We got to be ready for it. I think we've done a good job on this podcast of getting you guys ready for the prospect of moves happening. We didn't harp on it. We didn't say like, this is going to happen. We know this is going to happen. All we said is this is the possibility. And I think we've done a good job of giving you a scenario and what to expect. So it just makes the concept even more fun, dude. I can't get over it, man. Thursday's going to just be, it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Yep.
All right. So the next comment, really, really quick, 18 seconds long. Goody was asked about Jair Alexander. And I want to give a shout out to our Aaron Rodgers, not the Aaron Rodgers, who sent another video over that we may play the soundbite here in a second. It's from Wildy and Tauch earlier today, one of my favorite podcasts. Here is Goody on Jair Alexander. He was asked about him earlier today.
Would you still like to have a resolution on Jair before Thursday? And if you don't trade him before or during the draft, are you just going to keep him on the team for next season?
Yeah, we'll work through that. I don't really have any updates on Jair. He's obviously on our roster right now. We'll see how the draft goes and then see where we are at that point.
So pretty simple, right? Keep that screen grab pulled up for me there, Tim. This was from ESPN Milwaukee that tweeted this out. I believe this was Rob Domofsky on. I believe it was on Wildy and Tausch. It may have been on one of the other shows here, though. It was posted by ESPN Milwaukee. Let's hear what Rob Domofsky's latest on Jair Alexander, which, listen, Rob has caught some heat over this. And, you know, there's a portion of the fan base that says they're out to sabotage Jair Alexander and they're just doing this because they've got a vendetta against Jair Alexander. I don't believe that, guys. I really don't. But here's what Rob Domofsky had to say about it.
This is as long and drawn out a process for a guy who I would say with 99.5% certainty is probably not going to be on their team.
Rob, when you say they don't want him, obviously I think that includes Goody in the front office, but does that also include Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff?
No, 100%. Yeah, this is an organizational feeling. I mean, the frustration level has come to the point where, you know, they just don't want to not know from week to week whether a guy's going to play. It's not unlike the David Bakhtiari situation. Dave's injury was seriously severe. Jair's maybe not as severe, but yeah, like, I mean, you know, if they could get an assurance that Jair Alexander is going to play 12 or 13 games this year, I think they would take him back. They just do not and cannot be in a position where they don't know they're using a roster spot, they're giving practice reps, they're spending money on a guy that they don't know how many games he's going to play.
All right, so there you go. That was Rob Domofsky talking about the Jair situation. I will say this: there was something else he said in that podcast. I was listening to it live, and that was on Wildy and Tausch, by the way. Jason Wildy been on his game, man. I've enjoyed the heck out of that show. And if you guys aren't checking out his articles he's writing right now, just kind of giving you a perspective on the current Packers roster going into the draft, it's been really, really good stuff over at Channel 3000. So make sure you check it out. Yeah, Chuck in the chat, LOL. Work through it means stop asking. And I'm not going to, so quit asking, right? That'd be the perfect time for that drop. Now
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
It's one of those situations where Rob Domofsky and Jason Wildy this entire time have been saying firmly, Jair's not going to be on the Packers, right? And we've said more recently that what's the point in trying to get rid of him for nothing? Like, right. You can wait until the week right before the season starts. Now, you got to hold a roster spot. And obviously, once you go from 90 to 53, that roster spot is extremely valuable. But that's when you start getting into some guaranteed money as if he's on the roster week one. So why not wait? Just like with the draft, when you look at the draft, you're holding on to him if you are indeed going to trade him. If a team doesn't get the corner that falls to him, you guys have heard me say that 100 times, right? And that's kind of how I think Goody's looking at it. It's like, hey, look, if a team doesn't get the corner they want in the draft, let's go get Jair. Well, let's say all the teams do get the corners they want, and you still got him. Guess what happens in training camp? Injuries. And if an injury occurs, then you trade him, right? I'm still holding out a little bit of hope. That they said 99.5%. I'm still holding out a 0.5% that he's on the roster because I think the roster is better with him on it. Unless it inflates to, as high as a second or a third round pick because a team is really, really vulnerable with their roster, Jacob. That's the only way that I see it. Like I'm not interested in trying to get a 5th round pick when we could hold on to him and potentially get more, or who knows, maybe this thing patches itself up. Because like Tim's pointed out, Jacob, they don't have to do anything with him. And if he says, well, I'm not playing, well, guess what? They get every bit of that money back due this year. So I don't know, man. That's what do you think, Jake?
Yeah, it's a simple example of that. Jair just doesn't hold the cards. He doesn't. And whether or not he wants to, or whether or not he wants to puff his chest out and say that I deserve this and I can do that, I don't think Goot, if it's a poker game, Goot's just looking there. He's got the OG glasses on. He ain't even smirking. Like, he's not making a move. He's just tapping his hand and going, make your move. Because we have exactly what we need from you right now. We got you painted into a corner. And I would think that Ja and his representation understand that. That's probably why we haven't heard, a lot of kerfuffle, if you will. Great word, by the way, kerfuffle. It's a weird scenario that I don't want to be in, and I don't relish in any way. But like you said, I find it hard to believe that if there is a way to get Jair to play, that we don't make that happen. But I can't see giving away Jair for less than a 4th or a 5th round. You know what I mean? Like when you go in any sort of mock database, even like with PFF wants to give you a 2nd and a 3rd, 2 3s and a 4. Like they will give up big money as far as what the Jair trade market is. I just realistically in real life, I don't see it being anywhere near that. And I think that's probably maybe tick Jair off a little bit, because if you know anything about him, he's got an ego, which, well deserved. But do you think that he wants to let himself be traded for a 5th, or would he rather be cut and then go find another place to go? Like,
definitely wants to be cut. Definitely.
I was going to say, and I think that might be the Packers' best option too, right? Like that's why we're not tipping our hand. You let this play out. If he's a post-June 1 cut, we save money on the cap, and then you move forward. If you can get a 3rd round, or you can do better, then you will.
Yeah.
Do you think mid-draft, do we have a better opportunity to get a better draft pick if we were to because like you said, dude, how many teams, like after the first, maybe they only had 3 cornerbacks that had a 1st round grade, they're like, this could actually be a difference maker, a plug and play type corner. First round goes past. Second round goes past. We didn't
Bro,
get
you're talking about
crap.
all pro caliber when he's healthy. There's no two ways about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny too because what's the problem we keep running into in our mock drafts? If you don't go corner first or second, you're in no man's land. There's going to be other teams that feel that way too. Just about guarantee it. You know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Emilio? How you feel on the situation, man?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm
over here staring at this board.
Yeah,
Man.
obviously, I'd love to have Ja back, but man, it just all the signs are pointing to it's not going to happen. So at this point, you just got to get as much out of it as you can. It's that rusty car, right? That's been sitting in the garage that you got to sell, but you just can't get around to doing it. But at one point, you just got to throw it up on Craigslist, right? And
Does it have a rusty undercarriage?
Oh, it does have a rust. That's the problem with it. I can't move that kind of stuff.
That's right.
You know, you would love to get $1,200 for it, but the reality is you're going to have to settle for $7.
Yeah. I mean, and you can scrap it for $300, but that plus 400, I'll take that all day long. You know,
scrapping it for $300 is cut, right? Taking a fifth, that's that $700 range.
Yeah.
That's where it works.
What about that Cars for Clunkers? Is that a thing?
I don't think that's a thing anymore, Jacob. I could be wrong, but
That's Michael Scott, one of his best quotes.
it's still a thing. All right, boys, y'all ready to do a mock draft?
Yes, sir.
We're at the hour mark. We did good there, man. I know sometimes those pressers can be boring, but hopefully we gave you some conversation in between them and kind of give our take on it. Not that we know anything. Obviously, we're a bunch of knuckleheads, but I just think it's really cool to kind of hear what the GM has to say 2 days before the draft. And is he going to tell you, is he going to tip his hand? Probably not. But if you really pay attention, you can catch just some little snippets of things that they're thinking about, right? And like I said, how they're working the board and all the preparation that went in. I think it's really good stuff. And
We got time for one real quick question here from Mr. Larry Cano.
Absolutely. What's up, Larry? Hey, thank you for the package, Larry. We got it, buddy.
Appreciate
You were
it, Larry.
way too kind, Larry. Way too kind. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, he's just wondering, post the 25 draft, do you think that anyone would be willing to trade a 26 draft pick for Mr. Aja?
That's a great, here's the normal operating procedure there. Whenever you trade a pick or a player, if you go next year, it jumps one round. So let's say a team is willing to give a 4th round pick for Ja this year. Next year, that would be a 3rd rounder. I could see that being the case. And then, it doesn't even necessarily mean you can't use that 3rd rounder this year. You could use that as draft capital to trade back up in the draft as well. I think that's a great question, Larry. Let's go around the horn with that one. So I think that's really interesting. Go ahead, Emilio. What do you think, man? Do you think that's on the table there? I haven't even really thought about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, DJ was talking, said Philly's got 12 or 13 picks next year. So I could see them being like, hey, let's just give up some for next year. We'll grab Jair, an all-pro corner. We'll give them, a 5th and a 6th or a 4th and a 6th or whatever it needs to be. And to them, it's, hey, we still have 8+ picks. We'd still be over, we still have double-digit picks, but we got an all-pro corner potentially. And to Goody, it's like, all right, we got the, if it's a headache, if it's a problem, whatever, out of the locker room, out of, off the paycheck. And now let's move forward with those draft picks and try to get squared away next year.
Yeah. Professor Cake says, listen to y'all making changing my oil that much more relaxing. Hey, this is a family show, sir. Calm down. Go ahead. Tim, you got anything else to add, brother?
No, I'm ready to go, man. Let's get it.
All right. Let's get into the mock draft. Yes. What's wrong with you, Jacob? You put your head out of the gutter, man. What's wrong?
It's a family show.
It is a family show. All right. Here we go. Mock draft. What are we thinking here, gents? How do we want to approach it? Do we want to throw a wrench into this anyway, or do we want to maybe – we can't really trade up, to be honest with you. It's too hard. Hey, that's the kind of content you come here for, Bates. I'm sorry, man.
Wait, is there any sort of who's the decider? Is there any kind of input here? Who's the final decision?
Jacob, you get to make every pick. We're all just going to shut up. You're just going to make
I made the best one. I'm just saying. I made the best
You
one.
what? What'd you say?
I had the best. I think out of all of us, I think that it was consensus, right? Everyone thought that I had the best draft. Everyone.
Jacob,
No.
can I ask you a question, Jacob?
Some people were saying that. Not everyone was saying that.
And I saw a lot of people.
Can I ask you
Never
a
helps
question?
a rusty undercarriage sleep at night, man.
If you had to pick one position, that Packer fans have clamored for the most in the last 10 years, what would you say it would be, Jacob?
I would have to guess it'd be the wide receptor.
Right. And what did you do on your draft, Jacob?
I got 2 of them.
Right off the bat. Jacob
that
was
was
playing chess. He was like, listen, boys, I'm about to win this crowd over right now. I'm going receiver. So, all right, let's do it, boys. Here we go. Let's crank it up. And let's see if anything falls different this time. I've seen Cam Ward come off the board there early. That's a good sign. Maybe this will be accurate. So the Packers are on the clock. And look at here. Jahdae Barron on the clock. Do you guys think there's any chance Jahdae Barron will be there at 23? Because maybe I'm just being too negative in my own mind. I've just convinced myself there's no way Jahdae Barron's going to be there at 23. Last few mocks we've done, though, it's kind of fell that way. I mean, am I wrong for being too pessimistic, I guess is the right word there? Thinking that Jahdae Barron's not going to be there at 23?
No, I think that's fair.
I just feel like most teams aren't looking at him as an outside corner, which could be the reason that he would fall. But I do believe that he is a plug and play corner at some position. It doesn't matter which one. At least he can help your team. I don't know. Amelia, what do you think?
The Jahdae thing is, if the dude is going to be a nickel, which I think he probably is going to be a nickel, Greg Cosell's been talking about how important is that nickel position in the defense. And he goes, honestly, I would probably consider that a top 10 position on the whole team. Mm-hmm. That's a guy that has to come down, play the run. That's a guy that needs to know, run fills. I mean, I forgot who said it, but that nickel corner could be filling B gap on a run fit. I mean, you got to be in the box. You got to be paying attention. You got a tight end over. You got a slot outside. But then I still have to get over there basically to Elton Jenkins and try to fill that hole.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. We talk about the tiers of importance on our positions, right? We say 3-tech and edge defender, right, on defense is top tier right there. They're on the front. That's getting pressure on the quarterback in a passing league. But some people don't look at defensive tackle as that important. Why do I look at that important? It's the closest position to the ball on defense, right? And then what's the next tier? Mock linebacker and post safety. Why? They're covering the middle of the field. You're using the boundaries as extra defenders, the out of bounds as extra defenders, right? So you want the center of that defense to be strong. Emilio, I think it's a great point. I would consider a slot corner more important than an outside corner, hands down,
right?
Because it's closer to the middle of your defense. They may fire on a nickel blitz. They may plug into the B gap if you're playing some kind of an odd front, like, rolling the linebackers over to one side, shifting the defensive line to that side. They have to become a backer all of a sudden. Yeah. They can also cover deep third if you run a fire zone. There's a lot of different things.
And how often do you want one of your safeties having to play slot corner? Or would you rather just have a legit slot corner?
Right. It's a great point. And again, Javon Bullard was much better in the slot than safety. That doesn't mean he was starting caliber player. And he may turn the corner this year and be dominant. I hope he is. But if you go into this offseason and the best player available is Jahdae Barron, he's got the versatility to kick inside to help you with certain matchups on any particular Sunday, or he can play outside, which he's proven he can do that last year, not this past year, but the year before.
Right.
Then you get kind of what if Javon Bullard takes that extra step? Now Jahdae Barron plays outside and you're off and running, right? So I would much rather have a 3-tech, but again, Jahdae Barron, I believe, is probably the best available here in this particular mock draft. We got to get going though. I apologize for asking that question. What do y'all think? What do you want to see here? Jahdae Barron, Jahad Campbell, Marion Hampton, Josh Simmons, Nick Emenware, and Kenneth Grant are the best available.
Not to be boring, but it's either Jahdae or Kenneth Grant right here for me.
It's either Jahdae or Josh Simmons for me.
Where's Josh Simmons on the board, Emilio?
Ooh.
I caught you off guard.
Simmons is 24th.
Okay, so he's 24th.
But he's actually slipped behind Josh Connerly.
Got it.
After the
update, right? Because I'm trying to think. DJ,
but that was one thing we'll double check or talk after is Ohio State and Notre Dame. Is that something we can consider a gold if it's a 30 visit? But we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, well, let me mention it real quick. We were going over it.
It ain't even working.
We're literally troubleshooting it on the fly here.
Is Walter Nolan available?
Chat, real quick. Ask you a question. You guys know how we're doing the gold boxes for the Senior Bowl and the top 30 visit. Emilio pointed out, like we had talked about on several shows, Goody loves national championship players. Like that's been proven with Clemson, I think it's the reason he went with Amari Rodgers, to be honest with you.
Georgia, Clemson,
Yep. Quay
Georgia,
Walker.
Clemson,
Ohio
and now,
State.
and now you've got Ohio State, right? So, do you guys think if a player played on a national championship team, should we throw something in there? We could do like the trophy emoji too.
Well, I was saying one trophy, but two, like we're not giving them the gold bar because they didn't perform in the Senior Bowl. But most of the national, like I don't know if any Ohio State players actually played in the national championship, but didn't accept their Senior Bowl invite because of the long playoff run.
Makes
Is that
sense.
something that we should give to just, hey, the national championship winner, national championship teams, Notre Dame and Ohio State? That was kind of where I was going with it.
My vote would be national championship winner, but I want to hear what the chat says. You guys throw it in there, and we'll go through it after the show. There,
Because at that point, Ibuka would get a star. I mean, or Ibuka would get the gold bar. He'd get the spade and all that. So it would really kind of tie it all together. It's just, do they deserve it if they didn't perform in the Senior Bowl?
Right.
Yeah, but
As
doesn't
AC
the big
Soder pointed out too, though. Well, that means Grant gets a trophy. That's a great point. Michigan won the national title.
Yeah.
Should we do? We have to limit it to the current year. You know what I'm saying? Just something to think about. Go ahead, Jake.
I just feel like that when you get guys that are at Michigan, Ole Miss, Ohio State, they already have that essence. If anything, they already have a leg up. I don't want to give them more points.
No. All I'm saying is this year's Senior Bowl. I don't even care about Kenneth Grant. I wanted this year. The only reason you went on a long playoff run this year and didn't perform in the Senior Bowl was because you played in the national championship. I
agree with that. I'm saying the national championship team, I completely agree with. I'm just saying if you're a quote unquote upper echelon school, I feel like you already have a padded stat line. Does that make sense?
And it won't control. It will not move them on the board at all, Jacob. It's just going to simply be a marker,
like a highlight. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Cool. All right, Tim. Walter Nolan is here. Tim said, "Hell, I'm going to make a sandwich."
I'm here. My bad.
Walter Nolan is on the board. You asked, and he's a little bit lower, obviously, than Jahdae Barron. Walter Nolan. Where's Walter Nolan at? He's in the 19 spot on our board. So. It comes down to
I'm never going to say no to D-line in the first round in this draft. So
Kenneth Grant's 13 on the board. So
Grant, Nolan, even Tyleek. I'm trenches all day, first round.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Grant would be my pick here. What do you boys think?
Do it,
Jacob. Kenneth Grant or Jahdae Barron, man?
Grant.
All right. You convinced me. Grant's the pick. So with the 23rd pick, we go defensive back. All right, let's move along pretty quick here if we can. There went Walter Nolan. He is now off the board. Jeez. Now we go back to Trey Amos. Trey Amos,
guy.
Jalen Milroe, Travion Henderson, Mason Taylor, Azare Thomas. Those seem to be the top picks there. There's Jaden Higgins in the 51 spot. Got Trey Harris a little bit lower. So, this kind of feels like it should be Trey Amos here. But was there another position we should take a look at before we make it final here? Maybe wide receiver. I'll take a glance.
Higgins or Harris or Besh.
So Higgins has moved up on our board. We talked about this a little bit, right?
Yep.
Jaden Higgins is now in the 47 spot on our board. All right. And then Trey Harris is a little bit lower than him. Trey Amos. So we just said 47, right? Trey Amos is in the 40 spot on our board. To me, that probably makes the most sense. Let's take a quick look at Landon Jackson. Where are you at? Landon Jackson's in the 33 spot.
Ooh, I like Landon.
You went and got 3 tackle. I feel like if you pass up on corner here, you're going to be hurting.
I was going to say, if we go edge here, we definitely got to try and grab a corner at 87.
Yeah.
I would probably go corner.
Yeah.
All right, so
Trey Amos.
We're taking Trey Amos over Jaden Higgins. Now, Trey Amos is higher on our board with the hopes that maybe a Trey Harris or a Jack Besh, somebody like that might fall to us, right? So Trey Amos is the pick 54, A+ grade out of Ole Miss.
Let's go.
Yeah, I would be okay if and this is like the last couple of mocks we've done, they felt like this, right?
Yeah,
I would be totally on board with that, man.
If you told me we're not getting Higgins at 54 and we're getting Trey Amos, I would be very happy. And look, we can take Jack Besh right here at 87.
Ooh, that's a pull.
Let's
love Jack Besh.
Let's look at Jack Besh on the board here real quick. He is in the 63 spot. Greg Cosell loved him. RES 9+. absolutely dominated the Senior Bowl. I like it. Great hands too. We talked about that. Good against not as good against man coverage, but great hands for sure. Dave MX6 says, let's go with Horton in the third. That's what he said, right? Torrey Horton is 111 on this board. Torrey Horton on our board. I want to say I was kind of surprised. Yeah, he's in the 92 spot on our board. Daniel Jeremiah had him at 73 on the earliest indicator we had. I didn't give him any bonus for Greg Cosell. Greg Cosell is not big on Torrey Horton. That kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But anyway, Jack Besh, I think, would be the pick here. Emilio, is there anybody else we may be overlooking that you think, nope, you got to go a different route?
Running back? Is he going to say running back?
If Travion Henderson is there, pull the trigger.
What about Ollie Gordon? What about Ollie Gordon? Is Ollie Gordon?
Have you watched it? I'll send you guys a video of Travion Henderson picking up a blitz. If that man,
oh my God,
that man is available in the third round, you are running that card up.
You just picked the worst way you could ever be like, you got to see this running back. You should see the way he picks.
Dude, he can do everything else. The one thing they can't ever do is block. Thank you.
Hey, look. All right, here's the pick.
I'm sending the video after this.
We're going Jack Besh. Atham says a good thing. We can actually partner him with Bush Light. He can be Besh Light. All right, it's gonna be amazing.
Besh lattes, baby. Besh lattes.
I'm all about it. All right, what are we thinking? It was Besh. Is that it? Is that the pick?
Take Besh.
I like it, man. I would be okay with Besh in third. Emilio, you okay, man?
Yeah, no, I'm good. If Besh is fine. If Travion was there, we're taking him. Though. I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
All right, another A+ there. I like this. Is the first time we've mocked Jack Besh in a long time, ain't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right. Up next, pick 124, top available. Kyle Kennard, edge. Damian Martinez out of Miami. Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss. Deion Walker out of Kentucky. Jonas Sanker is actually a recommended pick. What are we thinking here, boys? What position
we look at? Tackle.
Offensive tackle. You got Logan Brown.
Oof.
Chase Lunt.
Where's Chase Lunt on our board?
Let's see here. Do you got it, Emilio? You want me to look it up, bro?
Oh, you're gonna have to look that one up.
Emilio said you didn't take a running back. My God, you're on your own. Chase Lunt is in the 99 spot on our board.
99. We can get him at 124.
That's good value. Now he'll probably kick inside, but he can play. He can play tackle. He's shorter arms, but, keep in mind Balaga had shorter arms too. That's the one I always fall back on and talking about that. Let me see where Logan Brown is real quick. What is it?
I said so did Bach.
Same with Bach, yep. Another good comparison there. All right, so right now it's Chase Lunt, interior. Yeah, I think it's Chase Lunt here, boys. I'm okay with it. Anybody disagree with it?
I'm cool with that.
All right, Emilio, what do you think? Is that all right with you?
Bring over the Yukon. It's all right. Bring him over.
It's probably going to look like a bad pick here because he's 141 on their board and we're taking him 124, but I don't care. Got to be for it. Chase Lunt out of UConn. All right, up next is going to be pick 159. What position are we thinking here, gents? What do we want to see? Is we got Devin Neal, Emilio. Got us a running back. Can he pick up the blitz?
He was actually pretty nice in college football for a while, but I don't know about his blitz pickup.
Where do y'all got Savion Jones at?
Savion Jones. That's the SAI one I can never find, right? Let me see here. SAI. Savion Jones, we got at 127, meets the threshold and a Senior Bowl participant. That's interesting.
And from a big school.
Yeah. That's 127. Let's remember that. Tim, is there another position you'd like to see here, man?
Linebacker?
I was going to say, in Smile Munden, quite decently graded or thought after.
It's weird because some people have got him real high and others real low. We get him in the 136 spot, so that's fairly close to where who was it we were just looking at? Edge defender? Savion?
Savion.
And where do we got Kaiser again, real quick?
Jack Kaiser.
Kaiser? Hardly knew her.
Jack Kaiser is 160, a little bit lower.
What about Bassa?
Bassa
Jeff
is 115. He's actually higher than all.
Here's a guy.
Senior Bowl participant, does not meet the threshold, though.
Okay.
He stood out at the Senior Bowl, though, really popped there. So
I would say let's go with Edge then.
He would be best on our board, Jeffrey Bassa would. We haven't ever drafted him, right?
No, we haven't.
No, I don't think we have. I don't think we've drafted Savion, though, either.
That's true. So Savion is, let me put it this way, Bass's grade is a 105.7. Savion's is a 114.2. So that's what? Almost 2 full tiers.
Can we take a peek at D-line one more time?
Yeah, let's do that, Tim. I think that's a great idea. D-line, Jordan Phillips, Elijah Roberts, Riley Mills, Ty Hamilton. Let's see where Elijah Roberts is. I want to take that a little bit higher.
Roberts, Cam Jackson, or Phillips?
Elijah Roberts is an edge defender, versatile though. He could play. I think we had all determined that he could play interior. He carries the weight to do that. He's in the 110 spot. He's versatile. He's a captain, has a wrestling background. Packers met with him early.
Put him on the board.
And he was a top 30 visit.
Get her done.
It's going to look like a bad – I don't know. It might not look like a bad pick. I like Roberts here, though. What do y'all think, boys? Anybody disagree?
I like it.
All right, Elijah Roberts, defensive line out of SMU. All right, up next, pick 198. Again, we have went Kenneth Grant, D-tackle, Trey Amos, cornerback, Jack Besh, wide receiver, Chase Lunt, offensive tackle / interior, and Elijah Roberts, versatile defensive lineman. So, you okay,
I like
Jack?
my man Jack right there, Mr. Geyser.
Jack, somebody's going to get a hell of a football player in Jack Kaiser, man. I just don't think it's going to be the Packers. I hope I'm wrong. But, yeah, he's in the 160 spot on our big board. The main thing that brings him down was the consensus big board early. And Kyle Krabs had him at 188 early on as well. What positions y'all want to see, boys?
Can we look at tight end real quick?
Yeah, I was going to say tight end or
Grande.
Gadsden is 158. And then Jalen Conyers is 174. So Gadsden is definitely higher ranked here.
We got to get Emilio a running back in this draft. Let's take a peek at running back.
I like that, Tim. I like that.
Jordan James out of Oregon, Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina, Kalel Mullings, Jaquavius Marks. That's looking like cheeks, ain't it, boys?
Isn't Marcus Yarns?
Wait, Jaquavius Woody Marks, 133 on the board.
Hey,
USC Senior Bowl.
Another USC running back?
Greg Cosell -3.
Oh,
I'm gonna lose 6 subs and get hate mail for this pick.
What were the other running backs?
You can call them whatever you want, Emilio. Nobody knows.
Where do you have Marcus Yarns? Emilio, where do you have Marcus Yarns?
I'm
I'm pretty sure I heard Cosell talk about this guy.
Yarns is 204.
Okay.
You really want to lose subs? Let's look at quarterback.
Hey, let's go all in. Dylan Gabriel. Which, by the way, man, Cosell really liked Gabriel quite a bit. Just going through the scouting report on him, kind of surprised me, ain't gonna lie. Anyway, what are we doing, boys? Talk to me. We've named off about 6 that could be potential picks here, right?
I like Gatson here. Not to be boring, but I like Arande Gatson at 198.
Get you tied in.
Yep.
I think it would be.
We talked about him being a boundary receiver too. In a pinch.
What do you think, Emilio? Are we overlooking somebody here, man?
No, not really, because I'm kind of poking through that level right now, and I'm just not really seeing.
All right, let's go Arande Gatson here with pick 198. Everybody good with it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's Janae out of Syracuse. All right, pick 237, gents. 237. See what we've gotten so far. D tackle, corner, wide receiver, offensive tackle, D tackle, tight end. So we're done with D tackle. I'm thinking interior offensive line and another cornerback would be what I want to see. Jack Nelson at tackle. You got Jack Nelson, Miles Hinton, Xavier Truss, Esapo. Esapo, by the way, I seen somebody tweeted something out, pretty prominent site the other day. I can't remember what it was, but it was like it wasn't just some Tom, Dick, and Harry throwing a tweet out there. And they said that 500 snaps, 500 pass blocking snaps, 0 sacks allowed, right? And I think we talked about that when we went through his top 30 visit. Esapo's a name to watch late in the draft for sure. Interior offensive line, Clay Webb, Tyler Cooper, Luke Newman, Marcus Weir's down there. Emilio, can you check a couple of these for me real quick?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Clay Webb is very, very grades out very well. Small school. I know Emilio loves Luke Newman. Marcus Weir grades out incredibly well. Small school.
Clay Webb, Emilio.
172.
Tyler Cooper.
253.
Luke Newman.
258.
Hello,
So it would definitely be Clay Webb. Where's Marcus Weir at?
Marcus.
WEHR.
Thank you. 279.
So Clay
Gotta go,
Webb would be
Clay.
the offensive line pick here for sure. Teddy Buchanan, where's he at?
Ooh, I like Teddy.
I just added him. He just got an updated number. He is 176.
176. So that'd be good value here too. I just really feel like, man, corner is probably the way we need to go here. I don't like looking up there and just seeing one drafted corner, especially if Jai is going to be gone. Hancock, I feel like we took recently, had a pretty good grade. Am I wrong there, Jordan Hancock? I want to say he was underneath
It's
200.
Herbie Hancock.
Sorry.
Emilio?
Wait, I'm sorry. What?
I got it.
Who was it?
You're working.
Jordan Hancock.
Jordan Hancock is 186.
Yes, 186. That is correct.
Appreciate that, Emilio.
That is on me.
Anybody opposed to Jordan Hancock here? Going another? It's either that or try to go.
It's that or Clay Webb.
I was
Where's
going to
Clay
say
Webb
Clay
again?
Webb. I like Clay Webb.
72.
All right, so he's ranked higher. Let's go Clay Webb here then. A+ out of Jacksonville State. Clay Webb, interior offensive line. I like it. All right, so we feel like we've done our due diligence there at offensive tackle. Got to get a corner, don't we, Tim?
Corner.
Look at
Longer
there,
beam.
boy.
Longer beam.
We waited and got Jordan
Hancock.
Hancock anyway. Where's longer beam, Emilio?
Longer beam. I mean, I think we just need to bring him in anyway, but 295.
Nice.
Where we
What
have
about Jalen Smith?
Yeah.
J.A.
Jaylin.
Smith is 223.
That's Jordan Hancock.
Gotta
Hands
go
down.
Hancock.
There it is. Jordan Hancock is your pick out of Ohio State. Another national champion player, right? Mm-hmm. Ron, what is your problem, sir? Oh, man. Y'all need to get your head out of the gutter. Thank you, Coach McBarty. Appreciate you. Cam Ward, number 1. Travis Hunter, number 2. Abdul Carter, 3. Armand Mimbo, 4. Mason Graham, 5. Ashton Gianti, 6. Ty Warren, 7. Jalen Walker, 8. Kelvin Banks, 9. Mike Green, 10. Will Campbell, 11. Tet McMillan, 12. Will Johnson, 13. Shador Sanders, 14. Shamar Stewart, 15. Matthew Golden, 16. Tyler Booker, 17. Emeka Egbuka went 18 to the Seahawks. Him and JSN reunited. That's pretty cool. Malachi Starks, 19. Colston Loveland, 20. Derek Harmon, 21. Michael Williams, 22. We got Kenneth Grant. I love that pick at 23. Donovan Jackson, 24. Jade Barron went 25. Josh Connerly Jr., 26. Gray Zabel, 27. That just feels like a Baltimore pick. Nick Scorton, 28. Jahad Campbell, 29. Savone Revel Jr., 30. Tyleek Williams, 31. And Omarion Hampton. And, man, could you imagine grouping him up? That running back room is going to be sick and filled.
Saquon, A.J. Dillon, Hampton.
I was just gonna say, this looks like the most realistic first round draft that we've seen, other than the Philly pick, and probably other than the Texans pick, just because they are so offensive line needy that I don't think that Connerly or Gray Zabel, I don't think they'd let them pass that. But that's pretty good.
Yep. All good says great draft. Better if we would have taken Nolan. You know, you guys know I love Nolan. I love Walter Nolan, but Kenneth Grant, if we stuck to our board, man, he's significantly higher than Nolan. He really is. There's no two ways about it. So, real quick, because we may not be able to do a show tomorrow as we're packing up all the gear and getting it ready to fly out to do the live draft party in Green Bay. Here is that mock draft from the most accurate recent mock drafter. Okay, and again, his name is Brendan Donahue. All right, and he's with Sharp Analysis. So I'm going to read it off real quick, and we'll kind of see if it compares somewhat here. Cam Ward, number 1, got it, right? Travis Hunter, number 2, got it. Abdul Carter, number 3, this recent mock draft, got it. Okay, he's got Will Campbell going to the Patriots at 4. Our mock draft had Armand Mimbu going there. The Jaguars get Mason Graham at 5. The Raiders get Ashton Gianti at 6. The Jets get Armand Mimbu, so right there in the same ballpark. At 7. The Panthers get Jalen Walker at 8. The Saints get Jackson Dart, number 9. Holy cow. Bears, Ty Warren. 49ers, Kelvin Banks. Cowboys, Tet McMillan. Dolphins, Will Johnson. Colts, Colston Loveland. Falcons, Mike Green. Cardinals, Michael Williams. Bengals, Derek Harmon. Seahawks, Gray Zabel. Bucks, Jahide Campbell. Broncos, Omarion Hampton. Steelers, Shador Sanders. Chargers, Kenneth Grant. Packers get wide receiver Matthew Golden.
Here's the guy.
How would y'all feel about Matthew Golden? Fastest 40 time of all wide receivers, right? Definitely can play outside. There's no two ways about that. How would y'all feel about that? And we'll wrap the show up with that.
As president of the Jaden Higgins fan club, I would not be upset at all with Golden at all.
He's a little lower on our board, Tim, but I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't look at Golden like, oh gosh, Golden. Like I could see that it kind of feels like the Jordan Morgan pick last year, where we're all like, I had him a little lower, but it makes sense.
Yep.
We got him in the 38 spot now, by the way.
Agree.
What do you think, Emilio? Would you be okay with Matthew Golden?
Yeah, but I just first round receiver, man. I don't know. I just don't know.
He was the best guy around.
I just don't. I mean, I feel like Goody would take an edge, a tackle, or somewhere where you have to pay a lot of money. Obviously, wide receiver you have to pay, but down the road, I mean, we have a lot of logs in that fire, right? There's a lot of people in there, so I want my water cooler boy back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, if you're saying Clayton, you got to choose between Kenneth Grant, who we took at 23, or Matthew Golden. I'm going Kenneth Grant all day long, twice on Sunday. Sure. Trey Amos at 54. We got Jack Besh at 87. That would be a dream at 87. Chase Lunn at 124. Elijah Roberts 159. Aronde Gadsden 198. Clay Webb 237. And Jordan Herbie Hancock 250. There you go. There's the mock for tonight. Y'all roast us in the comments. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Scan the QR code and join the Patreon community, man. It's growing like a weed, and it's so cool to have that communication in there. We're going to try to do a show tomorrow. I'm probably not going to create the stream because I don't want to build any false expectations, but if I can make it happen when I get home, I'll throw it together. But I got to pack up all the equipment. If we do a show tomorrow, here's the reason I'm thinking about not doing it. As soon as the show's over, I got to tear all this stuff down, pack it up, get it put in the suitcase, get ready. I got a 5 a.m. flight on Wednesday morning. I'll be in Green Bay by noon, though, right, Emilio? Is that about the time we get there?
That is correct. We're going to
Let's go.
Yeah, so it's going to be awesome. So then we got dinner with the boys tomorrow night, or a Wednesday night, I should say. And our boy Larry Cano going to pick up part of that tab. I think that's absolutely awesome.
Thanks, Mr. Larry. That's awesome, man.
That's right. That means Emilio's going to order 3 of everything on the menu and be that.
Right. Emilio's going to order $200 worth of cannolis.
Worth a shot.
Let's see here. United Bates says, I give this draft an 86% GPSR. That's guinea pig survival rate. It's an Oh, it broke me up, man. Of all the things to say about that cat, we're in here going, look at this guy. How dare he come in here and talk trash? And literally Bates says he just threw his guinea pig against the wall.
How dare you? That's what he's remembered for.
Yeah, it really is. Not Bates, the other guy, right? Yeah. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, Larry says you're welcome, guys, man. Just so cool, man. Just a silly little Packers show and meet so many awesome people. You guys are awesome. So, again, shout out to the super chat tonight, Mr. Willie. Appreciate you. Tom Grousey smoking a cig. So we got a couple screen grabs. So here's what I'm going to do too, and we're wrapping up. The screen grab we got of the Brendan Donahue mock, the most accurate one. I'm also going to get one of Peter Schrager. We're going to save it in the system, so we'll have it on draft night. Quick reference, Tim, so we can just pop that up on the screen. Here's what Schrager's saying. So I think we're going to be more prepared with this draft than we've ever been. Let's just pray to sweet baby Jesus the internet holds up at the rental house, because if it's a couple of hamsters on a wheel over there, we're screwed.
Yep.
I could host it, right? If I had to, I could be the host, and then
wow.
Yeah.
But if we lose internet, you'll be the only host.
Whoa! Look at me. I've got internet.
I'm not saying it's the best internet. Some people would say it's the best internet.
You probably could, Jacob. You could host it, and then we might be a little grainy or something, but hopefully it'll work out. But we'll figure. Listen, if I have to run across town and pay a portion of Larry Cano's money to get internet hooked up real quick faster, we'll do that too. So I will. Money talks, BS walks. Ain't that right, Emilio?
Absolutely.
Yes,
he hasn't heard 60% of what we said on this show. He's just been staring at the screen all the time.
Dude,
65%.
65%. That's a good
117 on the board, so only got about halfway more to go. So we'll be all right. We'll get her done for the night. Patreon, join the group so you can get your hands on it. I was just making sure you had access to it earlier today.
You're awesome, dude. Appreciate all the work you put in, man. All of you guys. It's been the best draft build up.
Mhm.
This is
Ever.
awesome, man. It's always better when you walk into the test when you did your homework, right? Instead of
Goody was saying.
cramming the night before.
Yeah.
Staple that stuff to the inside of your hand, Tim.
Jeez. All right, that's it. We're out. Thank y'all. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. Go Pack, go.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.